Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Riker, the Toronto Raptors obviously had superstar Kawhi Leonard on the team last season, and we had a great year, but he decided to move along to the LA Clippers, and both you and I, and a lot of Raptors fans, expected him to stay in the Toronto Raptors after winning a championship and all that, and the initial shock and sadness of Kawhi leaving, I think, has left both of our souls, even though we would have liked for him to return. But some new news, and it's been very interesting. The stuff has come out about Kawhi Leonard's free agency, and it seems as if we knew that the Clippers were at least borderline tampering with Kawhi the whole year. Doc Rivers going on a news show saying Kawhi is a legend or is up there with Michael Jordan. Steve Ballmer sending coaches to the game, but it's been, with the reports that are coming out now, it's almost been taken to a new level.
Ben, how about just get right into it? Because what we're breaking down today, we're breaking down the facts of what people have said. Definitely, it's on record, right? Now, There's speculation around what the meaning of what they're saying is, and that's what we're here today to deliver, to talk about the realism and the truth behind what these quotes might actually mean, sort of the business side of it, and then also, I guess, the emotional side of it, and then what it means moving forward for the NBA, because I think a lot of people were shook around the league, to say the least, in terms of how this free agency was dealt with, and the antics that really could have crippled the Lakers in that Anthony Davis trade, shocked the OKC Thunder, at least the fans and the analysts, and then obviously upset the Raptors, but not too much. So break it down, what was said, and what do you make of it?
Certainly. So Josh Bloomberg, Raptors reporter, Raptors insider, he came out and said that Uncle Dennis, the agent of Kawhi Leonard, was making extremely unreasonable requests for the Toronto Raptors, and it made Masai Ujiri, question whether Kawhi was seriously considering them at all, because the requests that Uncle Dennis was making were completely absurd. Bloomberg goes on to say that in some cases, the things that they were asking were outside of things that Masai Ujiri could even control. The quote he used was, wouldn't even have at his disposal, Riker. So that, if you're making requests outside of the disposable of your GM, because everyone was talking about how Kawhi wanted a second star, whether it be Paul George or Bradley Beal, and he wanted, we saw what the Clippers gave up to get Paul George, and 7 first-round picks, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 2 very solid NBA guys. That's a big request right there from Kawhi, but the fact, that's something, that Raptors fans, our initial reaction, we didn't want the Raptors to do, but that was at Masai Ujiri's disposal. He could have easily done that if he decided to do it, but when you use that diction, it implies some different things, Riker.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben, and I think it's worth even mentioning what Adam Silver brought up before we even break down any of the further speculation.
Yeah, certainly. So Adam Silver, he's been in the news lately. A lot of people are asking him, especially with the trade demand in OKC. So he's had a lot of good sound bites. And one of his interviews, the talk, the decision, or the conversation, the interview shifted to Kawhi Leonard. And then Adam Silver kind of went off in a rant. He said that the players want to know that they're in a fair system as well, and they have an opportunity to compete. And you want to know what the rules are. You want the rules to be known. They need to be enforced. And again, this is the juicy quote that has everyone kind of speculating on this situation. And he said, I think there's some work that has to be done when it comes to free agency. There's always been stuff around the edges that have gone on, but we may have moved to a new level currently this year. So every year there's been speculation, LeBron James talking to other stars and that technically being tampering, Magic Johnson talking about Paul George on a TV show. That's the sort of tampering that gets brought into the media every now and then, people shunning that, and that's been going on for years and years. But the fact that Adam Silver said it's gone to a new level, it's got a lot of people thinking about what Kawhi Leonard's situation could have possibly been asking for and what could have been done with Steve Ballmer, who so desperately wanted to bring him to the LA Clippers.
Yeah, exactly, Ben. And then this is where we're going to start to strike in and then talk about different things that people have been pitching out. Now, of course, we all know that Steve Ballmer is one of the richest people in the States. His net worth is valued at multiple billions. I think it's 20 billion plus, obviously, as a Microsoft or an ex-Microsoft guy.
CEO.
Exactly. So he's got enough money. And even when the reports were coming out initially that somebody was going to match Kawhi Leonard's salary up front if he re-signed with the Toronto Raptors and all the additional benefits that he was getting. Now, all of this is fun it's outside of the realm of what people are doing. And of course you want to protect the players, because in the end, this is their jobs. They have contracts. They can decide what they want once the contracts expire, right? There's the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. There's a lot of systems and regulations in place to try to regulate everything that happens in terms of anti-tampering and in terms of what players' rights are and what they're allowed to do. But in the greater context, there is restrictions and there is penalties for going outside of what you're actually able to do. And one of the biggest things that has come up is that Kawhi Leonard's uncle, or Uncle Dennis's agent, was looking for Kawhi Leonard to secure an equity position in the MLSE, which my initial thought was, well, I don't even know if the MLSE is publicly traded, because in which case he could have just took his big contract, put a bunch of money into stocks, and got as much as he wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not. And fun enough, I did do a little bit of research into it, and recently, I don't know how recent, I think it was a few years ago, so okay, not recent, but 75% ownership split between Rogers and Bell, and of course they already own a bunch of things. Rogers owning, I believe it's TSN and CTV, and Bell owns Sportsnet or something else. Maybe it's vice versa, but they spent $1.07 billion to purchase MLSE, 75% of it from Canadian Radio, Television, Telecommunications. So this is one of the things that people are saying could be outside of what's even possible for a GM of a franchise to offer, because he's not the GM of MLSE, right?
He's not the owner of MLSE.
No.
He can't give equity to that, and that would be completely outside the rules of the league.
Yeah, and then you will be now offering your insight to say that perhaps, Kawhi Leonard, all of him saying that he wants a long-term contract to really go down to 3 years with the Clippers, and all that Steve Ballmer was willing to show that he's going to go above and beyond. So this is the point that we're starting to say, is this where the lines got fudged? Is this now where players are going to start demanding extra things and really playing behind the scenes? So I don't know if it's possible, but Ben, obviously chime in here. There's a lot to bite at.
Yeah, certainly. So that's, this isn't for sure. This is what a lot of people are saying are demands in this similar vein. And we all know how Steve Ballmer has desperately tried to get Kawhi Leonard for the past 2 seasons. And Kawhi Leonard gave up a supermax with the San Antonio Spurs last year. He demanded a trade from, and that caught a lot of people off guard. It caught Raptors fans off guard. It caught people all over the league off guard, because the Spurs have never had something like that happen in their careers, in their franchise lifetime, at least since the Tim Duncan era. They haven't had someone demand a trade in this fashion, and we know that the injury situation happened, but he did give up. In the fact that in the contracts that he signed, he could have signed with the San Antonio Spurs, and what he ended up signing with the Clippers, he gave up about $130 million, and that's a huge number, even for an NBA player that's making money left, right, and center. And the incentives that he wanted to be home, be in his his home state, be in California, but that's a lot of money, and that had a lot of people looking. And maybe Steve Ballmer, as we brought up, could he have incentivized Kawhi Leonard in other fashions outside of the salary cap, because he only signed a 3-year contract, and we heard that Kawhi Leonard, all the reports have been all over the place, so maybe there's been some demands behind the scenes that took Kawhi Leonard and
some off-the-book transactions, some off-the-book transactions.
Yep. No matter how they're formed, given to Kawhi from Steve Ballmer from the LA Clippers. That's a lot of speculation from the league, with Adam Silver's thoughts, his quotes, with Masai Ujiri's quotes. No one's come out and directly said it, and Adam Silver said he's going to look into investigating all the stuff that's happened in the league over the summer, make sure nothing crazy is happening with tampering. But it's going to be interesting to see how the league goes forward in either dealing with this in the future, or dealing with the situation that just happened with OKC, the Clippers, and the Raptors this current offseason.
Absolutely, Ben. And there can be systems put in place. I just had a blip. I thought my audio was gone. It's good. But there can be systems put in place to prevent this kind of thing, because similar to non-compete clauses or moonlighting clauses, which is very similar, the purpose is to prevent players or businesses going outside to poach employees from other companies to get inside information or to extract things that are really in the possession of a company, right? Because if you're, say, a tech company and your employees invent something, then although employees and individuals have the right to their own personal development and education, right? And things that they learn. Any innovations or products that they create is legally owned by the company that employed them. So I would say just like, a basketball player, if they get good, then they are able to go to another team. I don't think that you can have really rich GMs or anybody come in and offer them or incentivize them to means beyond what another team can offer them, because now you're going outside of what a player can just give on their own, right? By their own merits. So it's a really interesting point to bring up, and I definitely think that a full investigation will be done. And what I like the most about this situation is that Adam Silver has been very vocal since being the commissioner of the NBA, not just in this matter, but also in he really wants to radicalize the All-Star. He wants to introduce a mid-season tournament. He's getting a lot of pushbacks for these. I'll say they're pretty radical ideas for the traditionalists of basketball that don't really want to see much change. He's been getting a lot of criticism, a lot of pushback, but he's determined to really push this agenda and speak up when I think other people might be trying to silence him. So if he wants to, and again, this is speculation, and I'm not suggesting that this is actually what happened. Kawhi Leonard, it's very well possible that he just wanted to go to LA at any cost. That's his hometown, and that's where he decided to go. But I think at least we have the right guy in the corner, gonna do the research, gonna put in the appropriate measures to say, if this is what happened, this is what we're gonna do to prevent it. And even if not, how can we adjust or move forward with a better, more transparent means of free agency because of everything that we've seen happen with LeBron, and Kawhi, and all these players recently.
Certainly, and this could put some context around Kawhi Leonard's camp not wanting anything to be leaked from the meetings with the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Raptors. Remember how all the reports are coming out? The only thing that people were saying was that Kawhi Leonard didn't want the information in the meetings to be leaked. Remember that all this rumors and all the speculation, the quotes that are coming from Masai and Adam Silver, this kind of puts those requests in a new sort of context, because we don't know the request specifically, what Uncle Dennis was asking for. He's not a traditional agent in this league. He's not working for a big agency. He's Kawhi Leonard's uncle, and he's a family guy. He got a bad reputation in San Antonio with how he dealt with that situation. It seems Masai Ujiri didn't say anything bad about Kawhi or infer anything poorly about Kawhi, but he did have a smirk on his face, kind of a smug look when it came to Uncle Dennis when he was asked questions there. That it's weird to look at. It's a very weird situation, and as you mentioned, Adam Silver, he will definitely get to the bottom of this, whether it's preventative for the future or if nothing happened and he wants to make sure everything is good. But it's a very unfortunate thing if this did happen to the league, and Steve Ballmer is out here tampering. No one's wanted to go to the Clippers in the past, so maybe he said it was the means, it's what they had to do to attract a player there, but he has the money to do it. So we're not saying it's for sure happened, but that's the speculation around the league right now.
Exactly, and I would even be even more tentative and less willing to even put the blame or assign any sort of fingers in the direction of Steve Ballmer. I think we can take it for face value that Kawhi wanted to go to LA, right? And we can also say that the agenda was probably harder pushed by Uncle Dennis than Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi Leonard is a much more simple man, and that can explain the reason that he'd be turning down bigger contracts. I think
he's focused on basketball.
I don't think he's a money man necessarily. I think he knows what he wants. But if there was something that happened, then I definitely would say it's unfortunate that it went down, but that's it. It's an evolving league, it's an evolving world, and I think more information on this will probably come over the next few years, especially if not over this offseason.
Certainly, and as we mentioned, this is pure speculation right now from what we've heard. We laid out all the facts, all the quotes that we heard from people, and then we're breaking down the speculation that Raptors fans, the NBA community has had, and given our insights, and we want to hear yours. What do you guys think happened this summer? Because the Clippers haven't been a free agent destination ever. They just brought in, they had Paul George demand a trade there. Kawhi Leonard demand a trade there. Obviously, they're SoCal guys, so it makes sense, but it's a shady road. So we want to hear what you guys have to think. Let us know in the comment section below. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. You're the best for making this far. Riker, you have any last words?
No, Ben, you summed it up perfectly. That's it for us. Cheers.
Cheers.